everybody, and welcome back. It feels like we just chatted, and that's because we did. It's episode 20, not 10, like
Fine.
I said 9 last time. It's episode 20 of PW and 20, and episode 20 of PW and 20. Ooh,
Ooh.
look at that. My name is Alyssa, and I am joined by my wonderful co host, Maya.
Hello.
Are you excited?
I am, but not to jump the gun at all, but I was really hoping that we'd be able to talk about rosters today, and I feel like they're gonna drop them
Why
5
is it
seconds after we finish
taking
recording.
so long?
I don't know.
Don't they know we have a recording time? And think about us, gosh.
Yeah. Anyway. But yes, I am excited for whenever that news actually comes.
Yeah, so for people who are listening or watching, it's currently Wednesday. I believe rosters already are submitted.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think they had to be
it's like by
submitted by
5, right?
5. Yeah.
Yeah, but for you know, sometimes I do kind of wish we had an Elliot Friedman who would just be like, "Oh, here's the roster. Like I
Yeah.
heard this person made it. I heard this person like Jillian Dempsey, are you out there? How are you
Mhm.
doing?" I
Yeah.
almost texted her agent last night. I was like, I think she might be kind of busy right now. I think I won't do that. But there's some players that I just kind of wish someone would be like, this player made it, but we just
Mhm.
are waiting for the league.
Yeah, and so it's 9 o'clock Eastern. So I
Almost
maybe
10.
maybe they're waiting to have a fun release tomorrow about it. And I don't think the fans really care, but I feel like as people who report on it, we're just sitting here
Mm,
give it to me. Where is it?
yeah, I didn't really consider that. Like maybe each team will do like a fun social rollout.
Mhm.
But
I don't
I don't know.
know.
I'm honestly kind of shocked that we haven't seen much from it.
Yeah. Well, we do know that a bunch of players were put on waivers yesterday, so on Tuesday, and they had basically no no more than 24 hours to I think either be signed by another team or
Y-
leave.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, which is okay. Which is
harsh.
we've been banging this drum since this league started, since even previous leagues. There's just not enough roster spots for the talent, which is just incredibly unfortunate. But yeah, even you're placed on waivers, I don't even the teams that are maybe considering you, do they probably don't even have the spot, which
Mhm.
is crazy. But
Yeah,
yeah, this is it's wild.
it
Yeah.
is. It kind of feels like it's the real deal. But a
Yeah.
couple players, were put on waivers because they can't play this season. Um that was the only person that Toronto cut. She had a prior commitment to a different league. But other than that, I think everyone else has pretty much said they're gonna go to Europe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is sad because you obviously
Yeah.
you want your dream to happen here and stuff and whatnot, but hopefully, um, you know, if we're getting expansion here soon, who knows? But um yeah, it's a tough time, and we chatted last episode about roster cuts and all that stuff, and then literally we clicked done recording and both said goodbye to each other and closed our computers, and I think we both kind of just saw the Madison Packer retirement news, which was honestly, I feel like it's one of those players and one of those things where you kind of just knew it would come soon, but just to have it come was hard because it's
Yeah.
just this I don't really since I've been old enough to fully follow hockey and women's hockey, I feel like Madison Packer has always just been around, right? In a
Yeah.
prominent role. I don't remember really her college days, but I've known her literally since the moment she entered the NWHL. So um just a huge congratulations to not only Packer as a player, but Packer as a person.
Mhm.
I know she already mentioned it on her socials, but she's truly leaving the sport better than she
Absolutely.
found it. Like she is the reason, one of the reasons why we have this league and we have players who are only able to do this. And I think she does know that, but big shout out to her.
Yeah, and both her and her wife have just like made huge helped make women's hockey make huge strides since they were a part of it, and every story I've ever heard of either of them is that they're like the nicest people and they just want to help other women succeed. And yeah, I was like, I mean, I've been like sad about some of these retirements, but this one I was just like, oh,
Yeah,
this
it's
like
hard.
really feels like the end of
Mm-hmm.
something.
Yeah, it's like the end of like
Yeah.
a generation of players, right? Like I even
Yeah.
think about like an Erica Howe too. Like Erica Howe is like in
Mhm.
a similar boat for that for me too. It's like, um, she's just kind of always been there. Like she's like always played. Same with, and then Packer is in that same realm for me. Yeah, it's hard, and like again, such a great like a great person and also an
Mhm.
unbelievable hockey player. Like I feel like
Yeah.
not that like she like her skill wasn't talked about enough, but I almost do feel like it wasn't because like I'm thinking she had this shootout goal and this would have been I think this would have been the season before, so in the 2018-2019 season, the season like the last season of the CWHL because it was the last season
Mhm.
before like the boycott. She had this crazy shootout goal and it was like the dad zook, like the like insane like pullback, like and it was nasty, like pure filth. And like I still remember watching a grainy clip of it on like Twitter and being like, this is the coolest thing. Like, and she's just unreal and always loved her spiciness as a player and
Mhm.
yeah, that was the when I
Honestly, like
played, that was the type of player I was, so I've always just loved watching her play.
if I was a GM, like I understand why cuts are being made and why certain players are not making it, but to me she like embodies what the PWHL wants to be, which is like a strong player who also like knows how to play the body and knows how to like stand up for her teammates and stuff like that. So it's too bad that we won't get to see that this year. I hope that she sticks around and doing stuff with the sport.
Yeah,
But yeah.
I watched a clip actually literally just last night. Um she was on the Jocks and Jills podcast and the
Ooh.
clip I saw was on their TikTok and um it was when Madison told her kids, in particular her son, that she was retiring and all that. And she got cut and like that. She pretty much said like Mama won't be a hockey player anymore. And apparently Waylon like she expected him to be really upset because he's like all about it. Apparently he loves
Mhm.
going to the rink and like just by their socials you can kind of tell that. But like from her perspective, she said like he just loves it. She thought he was gonna be so upset and so sad, but apparently like he was like he had like kind of like a smile on his face and like he was like she was kind of like wait like what do you like what do you have anything to say about that, like it's okay, like how are you feeling? And he's like, oh that's okay, it means Mama won't you won't go away as much anymore.
Oh.
And it's like and like I don't know,
Yeah.
as someone who is gay and grew up playing hockey and at the time didn't know I was gay, didn't know two moms, I could have a wife and stuff like
Mhm.
that, and like to hear that story, like it's like not only um did she make an impact on the ice, she now gets to continue her impact off the ice with her kids
Yeah.
and just in general. So shout out to
Yeah.
the Packers. Love that
Shout
family.
out.
Love all of them. Yeah. We haven't seen any retirements at this very moment. I hopefully don't get any more just because they make me too sad.
Mhm.
But so we're waiting for rosters pretty much is where we're at, and like you said, we're probably gonna finish recording tonight, and then they're gonna come out.
Yeah.
But all right,
Great.
we have hockey this week. PWHL
We
hockey
do.
is going down. There are two games on Saturday. Opening day game, first game of the season. Toronto is hosting the Boston Fleet. It's going to
Awesome.
be such an adjustment for me to use team names.
I know.
Like,
Even in like the articles that I've
oh,
been writing, I'm
it's
just like
so hard.
PWHL Boston.
Yeah,
Oh wait,
yeah,
that's not what
yeah.
it's called.
It's gonna take me a bit. But the Scepters are hosting the Fleet. I'm really excited to um see Toronto's new barn. I know it's sold
Hmm.
out. I know a bunch of people who are going. Jealous. I
Yeah.
could have gone, but it's too much work. Um, um, and I honestly like I look at those two teams. They've already don't like each other. And it should be a good one.
I'm excited. Well, we're going to get into our predictions and everything later, but I definitely think like there's going to be some really good hockey. And yeah, new arena, new jerseys finally in action.
Oh yeah,
New
like not
equipment
that
in
I'm like oh
action.
the jerseys, not thinking about it, but like we actually get to see them on the ice in
Mhm.
person.
Yeah, so that should be good. And then the other game is Ottawa in Montreal, which of course is a classic. And I I don't know how that one's gonna go, but again, I'm excited to like see like I'm just excited for it to be back and to be on TV and stuff like that. So
Yeah, that game is either gonna be like 5-4 OT win
mhm.
for someone, or it's gonna be like a 2-0 with like an empty net or like kind of
Yeah.
like goalie battle. It's gonna go
Yeah.
one way or the other. I last season, that was like our that matchup was it was in Ottawa was like our first time where we kind of saw the Ottawa crowd in action because they were like booing
Mhm.
Poulin, and that was also like their gay Marcus, like that was like its
Yeah.
origin story. So like there's
So many
like
things happening.
we're always like in for a treat when those two
Mhm.
meet at any point, which should be a lot of fun. Looking forward to just a few PWHL debuts and just all around good vibes in that matchup. And then there's one game on Sunday. Um, New York is in town for Minnesota's season opener, or home opener and season opener, where the Frost are still so weird. Are set to raise their Walter Cup banner, which is really cool. I think that's really sick. I think that's a lot of fun. I
Yeah.
hope they go all out. Like I hope it's like it is for when you watch like the NHL, the NBA, or like the
Mhm.
WNBA, like they do it. It's like a whole thing. Like the lights go off, they shine the banner. It's a whole thing. The whole team's out
I hope
there and stuff.
so.
I hope they go all out.
And it'll be
Yeah,
cool to see like granted, I ever go to XL Center? Probably not, but
you
it's
never know.
cool that there's gonna be like a PWHL banner up
Hundred
there
percent.
amongst the rest of the sports teams that play there. Like that's
Yeah,
pretty cool.
like I was trying to think of like I'm pretty sure I didn't look this up, but like I'm pretty sure the Boston Pride did like a razor like
Hmm.
banner raising kind of thing with their Isabel Cup championship banners, but like that was at like the Bruins practice facility, right? Like it
Yeah.
wasn't at TD Garden, so like it'll be cool that it's actually going to be the first championship banner there because the Wild don't have one.
No.
No, which is actually that's really funny.
Yeah, I love that.
That's hilarious. Yeah, that'll be fun. I have a lot of mixed emotions about the Minnesota team, which we'll get into here in a
Hmm.
moment. But I'm excited for the players to have that moment, and like
Yeah.
even the fans too, right? Because like they won in Boston, right? Like they won
Hmm.
on the road, so like I'm excited for the fans to have that moment. I'm sure the crowd will be great, all that stuff.
The
So
dogs. I'm excited for the
yeah,
dogs to have that moment.
yeah, all the dogs. Where are the players' dogs? Come on now.
Yeah.
Where's Lee Steckline's father? Get this man in
Exactly.
here. I was like dogs, and then it clicked. It right away clicked. I was like, oh my god, it feels like so long ago.
It really does.
Um, and then there's a few days off, and then Tuesday, we have our first Battle of Ontario, which has a little bit of an extra storyline this year.
Hmm.
Daryl Watts, and it's in Ottawa, so Ottawa's home
Yes.
opener. Toronto's in town. Daryl Watts' return, which was a bit weird, like how she was like, "I'm gonna test the market," da 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 da, and then signed with Toronto.
I mean again, like we'll talk about this in a bit, but I actually think that she maybe made the right decision. And yeah, that will be interesting cuz as you said before, we know that the Ottawa fans are very like outspoken,
I'm
so they
curious
might
to
have
see what
something to say.
happens. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
curious to see because like when Lexi came back, like Lexi was beloved and everyone was crushed
Mhm.
when she got traded and
Yeah.
stuff. So like they did like a video and stuff. I'm sure like the Ottawa team, like the product, like the in arena and stuff, they might do something. But like I don't know
Yeah.
how that's gonna go. Otherwise, that's a good point.
Yeah. I
Excited to
don't
see
know,
that.
cuz I mean, if they're willing to boo Poulin, they could
Who
be
knows, right? Yeah,
booing
I
anyone.
don't
Yeah,
blame
so
them for booing her, you know?
yeah,
And then kind of just capping off the week, obviously, like I mentioned earlier, we're recording here on a Wednesday. So the final game of the quote unquote week here would be next Wednesday as Boston hosts Minnesota, which is
which is the
our Walter Cup final rematch
rematch. Yeah.
in the place where Minnesota won.
Yeah. That one's going to be interesting. I think that will kind of be our best like understanding of how the teams have changed and grown, and if their acquisitions were the right picks or whatever, kind of how they're gonna match up, because we've seen that a solid series of those two teams playing against each other. So I do think that'll be very interesting game as
Absolutely.
well.
100%. All right.
Yeah.
Well,
Is
do you
there
want to
another
go?
game that I think there's one more game
Is
that
there?
night? New York and Montreal in
Oh, there
Montreal.
is. I don't know why
Looks like.
I did it like that. Because I was writing it out and I was like, I think I'm going to have a hard time reading this. Yes, there's one more. There is one more
Yeah.
game that night, which is Montreal hosting New York. So New York takes a little bit here to get a home game under their belt. They got a couple on the
Mhm.
road. And I'm curious, like, New York's going to be such an interesting team this year.
Yeah.
I think that might be a good segue. Do you want to share our standings like first to sixth, and then
Yeah.
we'll explain after, like, so we both share
Sure.
and then one of us will go first and then like,
Yeah, do you want to go like place by place, or do you want to just go in a list?
ooh, let's do place by place.
Okay.
Let's go sixth to
Yeah.
first. Okay,
Okay.
do you want to give your sixth place?
Yeah, so my sixth place is Ottawa.
Okay, some fan you are. No, I'm just kidding.
I know, I feel bad.
Uh, no, honestly, don't. Like, you gotta you got predictions, and who knows, they might win the Walter Cup. Last year, I thought they'd win it, and they ended up not.
Mhm.
So, um, speaking of winning the Walter Cup, I have Minnesota in sixth.
Ooh, tea.
Yeah,
I don't know, that's interesting.
yeah, I got Minnesota in six. I'm very down on them, and I know it probably would bite me in the butt because I picked them six last year, and look what happened.
I was like the only person in the
I
in our
remember.
entire company who picked Toronto in first. So,
I know
we'll
everyone was
see.
like, including myself, was so down
Mhm.
on them. But like, I don't know. I no one expected Natalie Spooner to do what she
No,
did.
it's
Yeah,
true.
and
It's true.
Soupy to be as good as she was. But
Yeah.
do you want to
Um
actually let's explain our
okay.
picks and then we'll go as we go. So Ottawa,
So, yeah, I just don't think that I think they have done the least in the off season
fair.
to gain, and I think they've lost a lot. Like they did get Rebecca Leslie from Toronto, so I do see that being a plus. I'm also really interested to see Gwyneth Phillips. Apparently she doesn't like to go by Gwen.
I know I learned that the other day too, and I was like, ooh,
Yeah. So if she gets any games, that will be cool. But again, I just really think that they losing Watts is a big blow, and really I think they've done the least in the off season to prepare for the new season, and everyone else has done a lot. So
that's
that's my
completely fair.
thoughts.
For me, Minnesota had such a disaster of a time the moment after they won the cup, like off the ice. And I'm not to say like that, like that's all that matters here, but like just the stories were heard, whether all of it's true or not, like, that's not good for any locker room. And then additionally there too, like I kind of felt like they really exceeded expectations last year. And again, that's not to say that their roster isn't unreal, and they didn't have much turnover, right? But I think for this specific season, like I think they're gonna come out probably pretty strong, but I think by the time the season gets closer to the end here, they're just not gonna have a great time.
Yeah.
Is my thought. And also, like, karma gets you in weird ways sometimes, especially in hockey. And I'm intrigued to see kind of how that goes after, again, just a disaster of a
Yeah.
situation the moment they won. So yeah.
I
All
agree.
right.
Speaking of which, I have Minnesota in 5th.
Oh
What about
well,
you?
I have Ottawa in fifth.
Perfect. I have similar thoughts about Minnesota. I also think that, I mean, the playoffs are their own beast. Like, we know that. It's the same in any league. And with like, honestly, they were so close to not making the playoffs last year. So I
Weren't they? Didn't they
definitely,
lose like five in a row and then didn't even
yeah,
win to get in? They got in off of someone else's loss, like
yeah,
Ottawa's
just because
loss or
Ottawa
something.
could not finish.
That was crazy.
Um, yeah. So I don't think that they have like gained enough in the off season to kind of like set themselves up for success. I agree about like the off season drama that they've had and some of their additions who also bring like bad locker room vibes to say it
Yeah, that's kind
like
of where I was getting at with the karma. Like,
yeah.
it just doesn't.
I just think like I do think that the top 5 are going to be quite close, but I just think they're not
Yeah.
going to be able to get it done.
No, I completely agree. I think I have, honestly, in my head, I view the entire standings just super close.
Yeah.
And my reasoning for Ottawa, I think they're gonna just miss. Like, I'll be honest. Like, I like I just literally just mentioned, I think every single place here, maybe the top two, maybe the top three here, are going to be like a bit ahead of the rest of the pack. But I think that back three spots are going to be very tight.
Mhm.
And I think Ottawa's going to be just on the bubble, which is probably going to hurt if that's the case because that's what it was last year. But
Mhm.
um, like you said as well for like your pick with Ottawa, not much additions, but I will say Danielle Sardakini is an addition
Oh.
herself, right? Really excited to see how her game is translated to the pros. I felt personally like watching her with Team Canada, like she just like became this, not that she wasn't a different beast in college, but like really watching her with the women's
Mhm.
national team, like it just like she like elevated her game farther than it already was, and I'm intrigued to see how that translates
Yeah.
in Ottawa. And there's a lot of Hockey Canada leaders on that team and whatnot, and I think that's going to really help her. And then I think Mashmeyer, new mom strength. Um, her and her wife just welcomed in, I think, baby boy
Yeah.
a handful of months ago. So I think, after a strong season, but maybe not the best in her eyes, I think she bounced back very strong.
I do agree on that. We're gonna I hopefully put out a roundtable that you organized and
Yeah, it'll be out by
spoiler
Saturday.
alert. Yeah, spoiler alert, but I did pick Mash to be the goaltender of the year, which is probably unlikely, but I think that she will have like the biggest impact of any
I could
goaltender
see it.
on
Yep,
seasons, so I agree with you on that.
100%.
Um okay, 4th, I have New York. What about you?
Boston.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Um I mean there are some people who we work with who think that New York is just going to like be the team all season, and I think that they will be strong. I think their off-season additions were huge. I think Sarah Fillier, like she already scored a hat trick in the preseason.
And
Like,
really cool hat trick too. It was a
yeah,
shorthanded goal, a power play goal, and an even strength goal.
like that's so cool.
That's such a
I
Sarah
think
Fillier thing to do as
yeah,
well. Like, come on, we get it. You're better than us. Like, come on now. Like,
exactly. I think they're gonna be like locked in. I think they will be a much better team than they were last year. I think their lack of experience in being a good team will be like the thing that kind of holds them back. We also have no idea how the coaching is gonna be because it's a new coach.
yep,
Um, yeah, that's my thoughts.
love it. I have Boston kind of similar to Ottawa. Like I love their draft. I thought they had one of the best drafts in my opinion. I think we talked about this last episode. The addition of Hannah Belka is going to be massive. Um, and I think Aaron Frankel is going to be lights out once again. I
Yeah.
also think Hillary Knight is not scoring 6 goals this year. I think she's probably at least getting double digits,
Mm-hmm.
and that terrifies me because that means she's just going to be unreal for Team USA as well. But
Yeah.
oh well. I just think overall, like they're just too strong of a team to not make the playoffs. Like
Mm-hmm.
I think, but I also don't see them as like lights out top 2 in the league or anything, or even obviously top 3 in the league. But I think they are in and out of a playoff spot all year, but then end up with that final spot.
Yeah, I agree with you. I had them third. Uh, who did you have?
I had Montreal.
Ooh,
Yeah,
okay.
Montreal. Yeah, yeah.
I agree with you about Boston. I feel like in the preseason, and honestly, like we've never had a preseason like this before. We don't know what that's actually gonna look like. In like what it's going to translate to in
Yep.
the regular season. But it definitely seems like their additions are already making a difference and like activating those players who are normally really good but just weren't super good last year, like Mueller, Knight. I think they have pretty good goaltending. I think they have pretty strong defense. I think they're a very aggressive team, which seems to have paid off for them. So again, I think it will be very close, but their experience just like kind of boosts them ahead of New York for me.
Totally. I put Montreal in third. I
Oh my
think they're going
god.
to be one of those teams that are winning and losing a lot of really close hockey games.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're just going to be in every game, and some nights are just not going to go their way. Again, I think my whole standings are going to be fairly close. Just that's how I view the season. But yeah, I think they're going to be just such a strong and consistent team that um, they won't miss the playoffs by any means. But I don't see them going on some crazy run that like puts them in first or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Because I just think they're so consistent and so strong up and down the lineup. Yeah, I'm very excited for another year of Montreal PWHL hockey and like especially in those beautiful new uniforms.
Yeah, I
Um,
agree.
yeah,
Okay, so for second, I had Toronto.
I had New York.
All right, so maybe I shouldn't have been saying bad things about
You're
people
good.
we work with,
You're
thinking New
good.
York's
You're
gonna
good.
win.
You're good. You're good. No, you're good. You're
um,
good.
I think Toronto, like, I expect them to kind of pick up where they left off last season, except that I don't think anyone thinks that Spooner will be able to recreate the season that she had last year. And she is starting injured, so I just think like without that magical run that they went on of like 13 straight wins or whatever, which I don't think they'll be able to do this year. Like they wouldn't have had a like first place finish. So I just yeah, I don't think they're gonna be first, but I do expect them to be very competitive and right up there.
Absolutely. I had New York. I my thinking here with them is I think Sarah Fillier is gonna have not only a rookie of the year kind of year. I think she has the opportunity to take home the MVP this year.
I agree. Yeah.
She is just like she's so damn good. Like she is so good, and she makes everyone around her better. And you got players like Alex Carpenter, Abby Rock, who had a disappointing season. There's so many players on that team that have honestly, you look at their numbers last year, everyone underperformed. Like literally
Mm-hmm.
everyone. It was just a miserable year in New York. And I don't think they're gonna, beating the brakes off of teams or anything like that, but I do think they come out really hot. I think they're on the road for those couple games. I think they come out really hot to start the year. So hot that they're just always in a playoff spot, and then they find their groove and they get to it. Yeah, I'm intrigued by this team, and I
Mm-hmm.
think that's also why I put them at second because
Yeah.
we also thought they were going to be so much better last year, and they were
Yeah.
awful. And I like, coaching, whatever happened in the dressing room doesn't matter. It just wasn't a good time in New York, or Connecticut, or New Jersey or
Mm-hmm.
wherever. And I think also a big thing here is they're playing at one rink, and I think that
Yeah.
plays a huge role here. We mentioned it before, but it's consistency. It's the same ice. You have the same routine in the same place, and like I think that goes a long way, right? Like you have these takeover games and stuff, but those are so much different. But when you're playing in a home rink that's you have three of them, like that couldn't have been easy. On top of that, your
No.
team is crap, like you're
Yeah.
not having a good time, right? So I'm intrigued by this team, and I think they have a decent year, but nothing
I
crazy,
I
just a
agree.
chill second place.
Cool. Well, that leaves Montreal in first for me.
And Toronto in first for me,
Hmm.
back to back.
All right.
They going back
Yeah.
to back.
I just think Montreal was a very, very strong team last year. They did not make a lot of changes in the offseason, but unlike Ottawa, I don't think that that will harm them because they were so
Well,
strong.
they
And
also
if
didn't really need
anything,
to improve, right? Like they
no, exactly. Like,
yeah.
if anything, I think another year all playing together, the
Yep.
same coach, the same like goals and mindset is only going to make them stronger. I agree with you that I don't think there's going to be a lot of blowout games. But I do expect that they're going to have the strongest goaltending tandem in the league again. I really don't think that anyone can come close to them. Maybe Minnesota if they do okay, but yeah, I just think that they're set to have like a really really strong season and I would like to see them in first. So,
Love it. So I picked Toronto. Um, what I really like about this Scepters lineup is there was change, but in the most positive way. Um,
absolutely.
they had a few retirements. They had a really good draft. They had a really good free agency. We've mentioned Daryl Waltz already, but I really love the addition of Emma Woods.
Mhm.
Um, I'm a huge Woodsy fan, but like also like
He's
I think there's something there about a player who had not just a really bad season on a really bad team the year before, but I think a player coming home is really important. And I think that's going to be really strong for Emma Woods and Daryl
both of
Watts.
them too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
both being from the Toronto area.
Mhm.
Um, I expect big things again. Maybe not goaltender of the year from Soupy, but I don't think we're going to see the numbers we saw from Natalie Spooner, but I still think she's scoring in double digits easily. And I really like the additions on the blue line as well. I think
Mhm.
hopefully it gives a little bit of uh, we have Megan Carter added from the draft. I don't think she's set to start the year. I don't know if that's official or
Yeah.
not, but
I
she might
think
miss a
she's
game or
injured.
two. But um, I'm hoping it's like kind of just takes off some pressure from Jocelyn Larocque
Yeah.
and a little bit on Renata Fast. But yeah, I just really like their lineup. Also, like I was googling this because I just remembered it. If you were to guess, and if you know, you can just say it. But if you were to guess, how many points do you think Sarah Nurse had last season?
Well, it's interesting that you say that. I don't know, not that many, I don't think. Or am I wrong?
You're wrong because I thought the
Really?
same thing, dude. She was almost a point per game. She had 23 points in 24 games.
Oh my god. Well, that makes my answer to the
Right?
next question bad.
No, it doesn't. Don't say that. But no, I was
I
shocked
mean,
too. I don't know why. Like I
yeah.
and I watched like almost every Toronto game. Like I think I'm
Mhm.
just so used to her being good. But like I'm like looking at points for the piece I did for the newsletter.
Yeah.
And I'm like, for some reason, I'm like, oh yeah, Sarah Nurse must be like on the next page because I'm like, I can't see her. I don't know. No, she's
Mhm.
in second, right behind freaking Spooner. We all
Oh
talked
my
about
god.
Natalie Spooner, which
Yeah.
duh, of course we did.
Yeah.
Sarah was like, hi,
Hi.
I'm here. So that's the sole reason
That's
why
crazy.
I am a huge Scepters believer.
I mean,
Because
they
I
have such a strong forward depth that like I just could list off like so many players that
yeah,
have
100%. Yeah.
are good. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree. All right, so those are our
Cool.
standings. What do we got next here?
Okay, rookie will who will impress the most?
I think we
Are
both
we
have the same
unanimous on
answer.
this?
We
Yeah.
could yeah, Sarah Fillier.
Yeah.
I would like to say also I think Sir is going to be,
Yeah.
you
I
know,
think
I
so as
think she
well.
could be game changing. Kind of already mentioned her. Sarah Fillier is just like she's coming into the league as a rookie, first overall picked, and she's going to be top 10, top 5 best player in the league.
Yeah, I agree. I
That's
think
just
if
how it's going to
she
be.
is healthy, and plays every game, it's gonna be lights out. Like I
100%.
yeah, I don't really I think Serdachny is a really strong player. I hope she plays well, and I also love that we're talking about two Canadians being the top two rookies, but I think it's Sarah Fillier's trophy to lose at this
Yeah.
point. So
Another one I did have in my mind, just she's not starting the season because of injury,
oh
which
yeah.
doesn't look to be that bad, actually. I read about the other day. She doesn't look like it's going to be that bad. It's Kayla Barnes.
I think
I think that is just a phenomenal draft pick that
yeah,
Montreal was able to snag in the first round there. And depending on when she comes back, I'm not saying she's going to win, but I definitely think she will be in the top 3 there to be nominated, or
I
at least in
agree.
conversations.
I
You can
agree.
still keep this answer, by the way, for this
Okay.
next one, because
So the next
maybe we just appreciate, and
yeah.
she'll just get more. But next question here is, who will have a bounce back season?
Yeah, okay, so I literally wrote Sarah Nurse with like
You're gonna
5
laugh
question
though,
marks.
because dude, when I was writing what I was writing the other day,
Yeah.
that was who I was about to mention too. I was literally about to mention her as a bounce back, but then I saw 23 points in 23 games. Are you kidding me, Sarah?
I feel like I am a huge Sarah Nurse fan, and I feel really bad that I
Honestly,
didn't
I
know
just
this.
think I just think we were all in shock over Natalie Spooner doing what she
Mhm.
was doing, fresh off of like a pregnancy. It's
Yeah.
a year or two before, or like afterwards, and she just quietly
Yeah.
was killing it.
So I will just say I think this is her season to be the Natalie Spooner. I think I expect her to be like to stand out a lot more on the ice and stuff and be a little bit louder in her goal scoring.
I love it.
Yeah, what about
Um,
you?
my pick is Emily Clark. I
Ooh.
think she, and if you were to ask her, I'm sure she'd agree. I think she had a bit of a disappointing season. Ottawa was very up and down, and struggled at times, and was pretty good at times, but was never really consistent. And I think she probably felt the same with her own game. And I think she is gonna have a strong season. I'm hoping she gets the puck more. I'm hoping she feels like she like has more time with the puck. She can like work off of Serdachny, work off of
Mhm.
Skamura. Like there's so many options there. And yeah, that's my pick. I think she has a bit of a bounce back.
I agree. I think that that also gives Ottawa their best shot at being a successful team
I
this
agree.
year.
Yeah. All right, you're gonna die. I didn't write mine in here, but we have the same Walter Cup final matchup pick.
Oh, okay. Well, that's easy.
It is easy. So
So yeah.
Montreal versus Toronto.
Hmm.
Again, two Canadians picking two Canadian teams, but like, how do you blame us at the same time? Like, I mean,
I don't
yeah,
care. Like this is Canada's cup this year.
it
I
should.
don't want
That'd be fun.
yeah. I don't think that we need I don't think that the Americans need it again. Like
Yeah.
um I think that those two teams easily if they'd had better playoffs, like obviously anyone can say that, but like they
No,
were
you're
right
right
in
though.
it
Yeah. One,
last
if
year
they
and
score an extra goal or two, they're in the Walter Cup
yeah,
final, right? Like
especially
that's literally
Montreal.
what it was. Yeah. Well, even Toronto
So
too. Like as much as like
mhm,
they they lost Spooner with a knee injury, and then
yeah.
they didn't win a game against. Like I was looking at the game logs the other day. Like each game was still decently close. Like I think there was one that was like a decent spread in goals, but like they're a goal, or like a few goals away from tying it, or you know what I mean.
Yeah,
Like both teams, like I think it could go either way, and I think for me at least, I think both these teams just won't be denied an opportunity in the Walter Cup final.
again.
Personally,
Yeah, I agree.
um,
Who do
and
you
then our
have?
Walter Cup
Ooh.
champion pick is the same, because
What?
Toronto's going to Toronto.
Yeah.
I bet you Toronto goes up like 2 games. Everyone's like, "Oh, they're gonna do it. They're gonna do it," and then Montreal is just gonna win the next 3.
That would be classic, and we know we follow some of the classic storylines
Yes,
in this league. So
100%.
yeah, I don't remember exactly why I said Montreal over Toronto. Again, it will go to 5 games, I fully believe. It will be very
Overtimes, too
close.
many, probably like 4 overtimes in game 1 at least.
Yeah, I just don't bet against Poulin ever. So
Yeah, my thinking with my choosing of Montreal was I think if Renee Debian has like a strong season, she's just gonna be a monster in the
yeah.
playoffs. Like she gets to a different gear sometimes where it's like you can get a goal past her or two maybe, and then that's it.
Hmm.
And I feel like if the whole team is buzzing, like I think she's going to be very very hard to beat. Even if Toronto's high flying offense is going to the
Yeah,
beat of their own drum, I think if I'm looking at the goalies here, I'm going to pick the Montreal's end of this.
I
And
agree.
not for like Soupy's fault or anything. I just think it's really hard to bet against.
No,
Like you said, Poulin, but also I think in net as well.
I think
But
also if they are healthy and Kayla Barnes plays at the level that she usually plays at, I don't think that like I think Toronto's weakness is in their defense, and I just don't think they can
yeah,
compete with that. So, well,
yep,
good job
100%.
us for picking the same.
Go us. Let's go Canada. Um
Yeah.
so those are our predictions. Uh and we have hockey this week. I'm excited. I'm actually off this Saturday, so I'm going
Yay.
to my wife is having some friends over. Her friend just got engaged, so they're kind of having like a little cute tea party. Emily's hosting it. It'll be cute. I'm going to kind of make my appearance, but because I'm off, I'm like I never have Saturdays off, so I'm going to park my butt. Probably I was about to say on my couch, but there's people over, so I'll probably be in my
Mhm.
bed. And I'm gonna
Yep.
watch PWHL hockey,
Best
and I'm
place.
gonna cross
Yep.
stitch, and it is gonna be fantastic.
Oh, that's amazing. I'm just so excited that there's gonna just be like hockey on TV, women's hockey on TV again.
I
Oh,
know,
we
consistently
didn't
too, right?
mention yeah, we didn't mention the broadcast
Yeah, I
thing.
wonder
There's
why we didn't
been
mention it because it's really nothing. Like,
yeah.
can we be like, let's be real. Like, I'm so sorry to American hockey, like
Mhm.
PWHL fans here because I think I mentioned this. I was expecting it. The reason we didn't have it was because I was like, oh, ESPN, maybe TNT.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what
It's
we're
really
getting.
yeah.
It's the same. It's local broadcasts for Boston, New York, and Minnesota, which I want to say massive. That's huge.
Yeah.
Like that if you're getting local regional broadcasts for your city's like women's hockey team, that's really good sign. That is a very good sign. I think Nesson for Boston is having every single
Mhm.
at least home game for
Oh,
Boston, if not
nice.
all of them. I believe Bally Sports is carrying some Minnesota games. So like all this is good, and then MSG I think for the New York games. All that is great. But what are we
Mhm.
doing from a
I
national side?
know.
YouTube, which again, I get it. It's a good thing, but like that is disappointing.
It really is. And yeah, I don't really know that it's worth getting into, but it is quite disappointing. And like I'm really glad that people will still have the accessibility of YouTube because I feel like it every single day I'm scrolling on Twitter and people are like, "So where can I watch? Where can I
Yes,
watch?" And it's
100%.
just like just go on YouTube. But it's really unfortunate that they weren't able to get a deal done with a national broadcaster. Because again, it's not like you're not scrolling through YouTube and being recommended a PWHL game like you
No,
are scrolling through your streaming service or your
no.
cable TV
No, I
guide.
really thought at least like ESPN Plus or something, like
Mhm.
at least like something. But, I think what I keep reminding myself here, and it's hard because it's like broadcast, it's different, right? Like you want it to be big, big, and it should be big, big right away. What I'm trying to remind myself here with these broadcasting deals is they're only saying they're by the year. So like
Yeah.
this is just the plan for this season, which again is disappointing in itself. Um, and who knows, they might have something for the playoffs. They should, but
Mhm.
they might. So I'm trying to remind myself that it is disappointing, but I am
I mean,
glad that there is accessibility in that way.
it's not Periscope.
It is not Periscope, and if you watch the Toronto Furies take on the Markham Thunder on some day in April of 2019 on Periscope on Twitter.com, I love you, and I think you're
You may be
wonderful.
entitled to
I love you
financial
so much. I will pay you
support.
$1. If you watched it, you can message me on Twitter or on Blue Sky and I will send you $1 because that was the worst thing. and it wasn't me holding it. So shout out to one of my former coworkers at the Toronto Furies. Her name's Julia. Recently just got married. Congratulations. And it was a terrible time. But it's not Periscope. It's YouTube, but it
Yeah.
should be something bigger. But hockey this
Anyway.
weekend, it's exciting. Thank you all so much for listening, watching, doing whatever you're doing in this moment with us. If you're still here, thank you. If you're not, okay. Um, as always, if you have the means to, please subscribe to the Ice Garden. Helps us talk like this right now, and then it also helps us write more things and hire more amazing people. We've recently just actually added a handful of new creators and contributors, and it's a great place to work. And we love to be adding people, and we can add people if you get a paid subscription. So thank you. Enjoy PWHL hockey this weekend.
Mhm.
And thank you so much for listening. We really appreciate you.
Yeah. Thanks.
Bye.